So welcome again, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our first 2021 National FIC Coalition meeting. So thank you for being here and thank you for being a part of keeping our industry going. So big warm hugs to everybody. And for those of you who are new, thank you so much for joining us. We will start today with what we do each meeting, and that is with Chris Gray, who is our lobbyist. And Chris is just going to give us a little overview, open it up to any questions. So Chris, I will lead it to you.
All right, thank you, Trisha. It's good to see everyone on the call again. Just by way of background, obviously the rent subsidy program is up and running. I saw a news release from the government today saying $150 million has already rolled out to companies across the country. I know that some of you are still waiting on your rent subsidy, and I'm happy to get individual emails, either funnel them through Trisha if you are still having some issues. I know I'm trying to get some answers for some of you on the call as we talk, and there are still some delays in that, but I do know that it is definitely flowing. FIC had some really good meetings in the month of December, late after our last regular call. We met with the Minister's Office in Health Canada and a number of different MPs on all sides, talking about different issues, from obviously the challenges of keeping the businesses open and how the programs are working for our industry. And we also talked about our pre-budget proposal as we move closer towards the 2021 budget. Parliament will resume on January the 25th. The Finance Committee will be putting out its pre-budget report probably around the first week of February, which is a little bit later than traditionally. And then I'm looking at a potential federal budget around March the 22nd is my estimate. That's not set in stone by any means. I'm also looking into a little bit more closely into the federal economic statement that the government released on late November. There's a new program for highly affected sectors that I've been speaking with some government officials on, and it's mostly for tourism and hospitality, but quite frankly, there's more details to be coming out in that program in the next few weeks, I'm told. So I'm monitoring that for any applicability for our industry as well. And just a couple of things I wanted to note. I saw that the Canadian Chamber of Commerce has been lobbying Ottawa to offer grants to hard-hit sectors. So similar to what has been recently done in the United Kingdom, where they've allocated up to $15,000 for businesses to try and help them out. And also of note, and this will probably be spoken about more from the Ontario side of things, but I did see that Ontario has extended the moratorium on commercial rent evictions to April of 2022. So that's good news, at least as good as it can get, I suppose. So that's about it, Trisha. And again, happy to discuss anything further, or online or offline, if anyone has any thoughts.
Thank you, Chris. Does anybody have any questions for Chris at the moment? No, we're okay. Yeah, feel free to connect with me if you do have any questions for Chris, and I can connect you and we can get some answers for you. So thank you for that, Chris.
All right, thanks, no problem.
All right, so let's go to our president, Scott Wildeman, for a outlook on the new year.
Great, thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. So as a point of focus, from a federal standpoint, I think you heard from Chris, our focus is to continue to lobby the federal government to be part of the solution with tax incentives and positive messaging around the sector. One of the things we're also going to be doing new this year is provincially we want to give more autonomy to the provincial councils and to the provincial groups. So we've created our financial statements to have the structure where we can actually see how viable each province is in terms of its provincial council. So what donations come in, and then that will help us allocate expenses to each province. We know that right now we're going to, because some provinces would be in the negative, we're going to look at allocating some seed money to each province, and then the province can decide what is best to do with that money. So should you focus on web platform? Should we be focusing on video messaging? Should we hire lobbyists? So each province has different priorities and are kind of in a different spot along the spectrum. So you'll be able to make those decisions. So we have a board meeting next Friday, so a week from today, where we'll talk about how much money to allocate to each province initially. So from a provincial standpoint, boots on the ground is really important. And we also want to make sure that we are talking to our groups, the clubs, the facilities, the studios, giving updates on what we're doing. So we're going to be partnering with FitBiz Weekly to give a report every single month. So this is what we accomplished this month, so that facilities have confidence that their money is being put to good use. And then we also want to look at public facing messaging. So that will happen more on a provincial level, but what is the message that we want to let the public know? Do we want to create a video? Do we want to have a social campaign? Let them know all the great work that we're doing as an industry to provide them with the best services in the safest fashion possible. So in terms of outlook, I think there's a lot of optimism, but we're certainly not out of the woods. We're in the fight of our lives. So giving the provinces more autonomy and more flexibility with what they want to do, I think makes great sense. But I think as the industry or as the country starts to recover, vaccinations are rolled out, we hit the warmer months where people can get outside. My opinion is by September, we should see a glut of demand, and, hopefully we can just get to that point, right? I know we're still in the fight for our lives. So as an industry association, we work for you. We are here to support you, but we really do want to give the provinces more autonomy and flexibility with their actions. So that's it. Any questions?
Great, thank you so much, Scott. And on that note, that's actually a great segue to the next piece that I wanted to share with the group with the help of our team from Quebec. So thank you, Gabriel. We were able to create a national video, which I would like to share with the group now, which we will be launching. If I can, that is. One moment, we have some technical difficulties here.
Canada is experiencing an unprecedented crisis during which decisions taken every day will have an impact on future generations. There are urgent actions to prioritize and important actions to take. The urgency requires immediate, drastic, strategic, and carefully executed actions. Unfortunately, the important actions have been postponed. The practice of regular physical activity is part of what's important, and the urgency of this matter has been once again postponed. Obesity is gaining ground and costs the Canadian health system billions of dollars every year, with prediction of 1 Canadian out of 4 being obese by 2030. COVID-19 is hitting those with chronic diseases much harder than healthier people. We're talking about obesity, diabetes, hypertension, respiratory illnesses, and much more. Not only physical health, but inactivity also is harming mental wellness. Canada is sick, and the pandemic is highlighting important actions that should have been considered much earlier. Just as anxiety and depression are not solved by a simple phone call to your loved ones, a healthy and active lifestyle is not simply planned by going for a walk outside. Fitness specialists are available to advise, guide, and supervise physical activity. Fitness facilities are safe and fully comply with the protocols established in collaboration with the government and public health organizations. Our professionals are ready to support your health and fitness needs. Mr. Prime Minister, public health directors, ministries of health, chief medical officers, it is time to put physical activity at the heart of the solution and to recognize its powerful effect on mental and physical health of Canadians.
We are ready.
We are ready.
We are ready.
We are ready.
Let us help you.
So that is our video. And oh, let me just close this here. We would like to start our send off of the video to get ourselves known, get our messaging through. And I will put the link in the box as well as send it out with my email after the meeting, as well as send it out in a larger scale. So please feel free to start spreading the video, spreading our message, and really letting people know that we are here for them. Other than that, I see that there's a comment here about optimizing for social media. We can get that done. So we will make sure that that version is available. I believe it is fit for social media as is. Gabriel, maybe you can comment a little bit on that.
Normally, everything is supposed to fit on all social platforms. Here in Quebec, it has already been done in French for the first video was in French, and then we did the same in English with the same format and everything, and it was fine on Instagram, fine on Facebook, YouTube, so it's supposed to work.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. That being said, I think it's a great video. I think we have quite a bit of support from our provincial leaders on this video, and we see it as something that we can use to represent ourselves. So we can move forward from there. Let's go on to our second part of today's agenda so we can get to our provinces. So we can start with Quebec. Gabriel, I'll just continue passing the ball over to you. And if you could take us through Quebec, please.
Yeah, hello everybody. So a lot has been done. We did the video in December for the release in January. So we did also with the idea of the video, we did a petition prior to Christmas for people to realize, and it was a neutral petition for people not to realize, but just to sign that physical activity practice in organized physical activity or organized sports and coach physical activity was part of Canadian identity and should not be taken off or taken out of the solution. So we did that petition also. Normally with the video, we put the petition under it. So it was going on in Quebec since mid-December, and it has like many people sign right now. So that's what we did during Christmas time. We also did a burpees challenge, kind of a ice bucket challenge. We did a burpees challenge that has been going around with media and MPs that challenge each other, and like professional sports people doing it also. So it has the objective to make people move during Christmas and just be part of the media, like they talk about us. We knew that January was a big time for gym, and normally in the mind of the media, they have to talk about gyms and about resolution and about health. We all wish ourselves health in the beginning of the year, so we wanted to make sure we were in the head or in the thoughts of the media. So we did all those action prior to Christmas and during Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year. And then we did also open letters in the journal. We did some interview also. And now we are reaching out for a deputy because the lockdown is full lockdown right now with curfew at 8 o'clock in the afternoon. It will start on Saturday. So like this is evolving here, and we cannot, like all the sports center, the rinks, the tennis stadium and all those stuff are supposed to close on Saturday too. So it's like the limit are increasing in Quebec. And we are having discussion right now with governments to know is private, not coaching, but we were able to give program in the gym and to demonstrate program, but will that continue? So those are the discussion we have right now with government. And so that's about it. Our focus right now is to be in the media and present that we are a solution. And the second focus here in Quebec is also to gain more members, because if we have more members with us, our actions are going to be taken maybe more at large and touch more people. And if we touch people in public opinion, we touch politics. So this is what we are doing in Quebec.
Great, thank you so much. Let's go to Ontario.
Thanks, Trisha, and great job on that video, Gabriel. It's really the type of messaging that we're looking at putting forward in 2021. So I think that's a really great way of framing it. So here in Ontario, the numbers are climbing steadily. There was an announcement earlier today that they're going to impose further restrictions on Ontario. They haven't said what those will be yet. I imagine they'll be mirrored to what we see in Quebec to some extent, because they're very, very concerned about what the modeling is showing coming over the next couple of months. And we're starting to see the bump now from holiday gatherings and everything else. So we expect that that's going to be the case. As for our what we're doing here, a few things that are going on in Ontario. One is we're more of a committee approach, which is good for me. We're having a few more people that are going to help as with a leadership committee on the Ontario side. So it's not just me sort of organizing and running things and it's sometimes struggling to keep up with everything with my own business too. So there's a few other people that are working on that, and we're still looking for some of the someone on right now Perry and Paula Comfort are helping me out. We're still looking for somebody who is a gym owner operator to help as well, who can help drive some of that message, like what we've seen happen in Quebec with Gabriel taking over, or Dino in Manitoba as examples, or other places. So if there are people in Ontario here on the call who do want to help get more involved in the Ontario side of things, that would be much appreciated. Contact myself or Perry about that. But the big focus here is how we can re-energize our committee. I think everybody experienced a bit of a lull here these last couple of months as we saw that, nothing was going to be done, just trying to, work with the government on reducing restrictions. So the focus now has to be more on what we can do to prepare for reopening in the future and how we can be best positioned and what we can do in the interim on that. So that was one thing. The conversation next week at the provincial level will be based on what Scott said too, with knowing that we've got some funds here in Ontario, how we allocate those between, do we, engage with one of these lobbying groups at the provincial level? I've talked with one or two who have more direct ties with the government, who thought that they might be able to help to some extent, but there's a pretty big price tag on that. Or do we allocate that more to the marketing side of things? So that's the conversation we'll be having with the group in Ontario over the coming weeks here, getting more organized, getting more regular updates going out, and how we focus our energy and our efforts moving forward to kind of re-energize things. One thing I just do want to say on the bigger front on, where we're all everyone's very aligned, it seems, on how we be part of this solution in healthcare. There's a really interesting slide that one of our partners put together about the third and fourth wave that's coming in, in Canada. Those we're in the second wave of outbreaks right now. The third wave being the repercussions that are going to be happening on mental and physical health from people being in the lockdown, and the fourth wave being on all those medical conditions that are going to be exacerbated in 2021 because of the lack of access that happened in 2020. So a lack of cancer screenings, a lack of regular checkups that will have not caught things, and we're going to see this illness. So I think that's also part of the message on how the provinces know, and federally we know that these other waves are coming that are going to have a bigger impact that's related to COVID, but it's not directly COVID related in that sense, and how fitness can be a part of that. I'm just going to continue from my personal perspective on emphasizing how that messaging, there's the fight we have between public perception and wanting to be part of the solution. If we just continue to put out like, hey, we are this solution, we can be this solution, we know we're going to fight that public perception of how, traditionally what fitness has been and how we're viewed by the other 83% of people that are non-gym members. So I just want to put this out to the group again, that I think it's important that we own the messaging in terms of like being able to say, listen, this is what fitness has been, this is what we realize we can be, and this is where we're going and why we're making this change as an industry so we can be part of the solution. And I think if we can tell that story very clearly with some very tangible things, like, again, owning this is what we have been and this is where we're going and what we do. And I think part of that is how we engage people for some free support, some low cost options, how we empower fitness professionals to help more people, as opposed to just driving people into the gyms, which has traditionally been what our industry has been about. So I just want to put that out there. It's a conversation for another day as we move forward, but how that story needs to be told and messaged, and how we need to own some of the past to be able to talk about where we want to go in the future and why, instead of just saying we are the solution, because I think we need to be able to tell that story and explain it to really win over the public perception of what the past has been. On that note, I have been working with Gabriel on a bit of a framework on the provincial side. He's got more of a direct in with the government in Quebec, so we can get that feedback happening a little bit more on what kind of proposals we can make to the provincial government about allocating funds that go directly towards how fitness and healthcare can work together, that is going to serve the mandate of the provincial government. So, we know their mandate is still related to COVID right now, how we can alleviate some of that mandate, but also how we can put programs in place that will see funds go from the provincial governments to fitness that is going to address healthcare issues. So as we work through that, Gabriel and myself, in Quebec, we'll have something for Ontario. Hopefully we'll develop something that is mostly a framework that each province can then take to the government. And the ask would be, we want to see people take some of the funds that are going to these fitness people being unemployed and other things, and pay them to help engage people for their fitness in their homes, in their communities, online. Can we see money that goes directly to flow to that? And it's going to deliver on what they want to do, which is helping their citizens, helping get reelected, which is a key thing about this. And just understanding, how the province can tell a story about the wins they have, and how that in itself, if they're messaging that there's programs out there that help people get active and get to exercise and get to fitness, which is sort of the spectrum people need to move through, how they can get wins out of that and say they're getting something out of it. So there's a few key things there that we understand. One is we need to be able to measure and have metrics on if they're going to spend this money, what the outcomes are going to be. And the other one is how we have something that's more universal that can help anybody, no matter their circumstances, no matter where they are and their level of activity, and focusing more on the sedentary population, because we know in each province there's billions of dollars being spent each year because people are sedentary. So if money is spent, millions of dollars are spent today, how that will alleviate tens and hundreds of millions of dollars in the future. So just look forward for that. We're going to work through it these next couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll have a framework that each province can take directly to their health ministers and their economic ministers to make a very solid argument on what kind of funds can be allocated to help fitness businesses innovate, and what the outcome is going to be on the provinces in that language. So we'll be working on that, and for all those provincial leads, I missed the meeting yesterday, but we can talk more one-on-one offline as well about how it applies to your direct province and the ins that you've got as well. That's it.
Right. Thank you for that, Nick. Some good insight there that I'm sure that we will follow up on as well. Manitoba, I know that Dino was just watching the press conference. So Kate or Dino, if you have something you'd like to share.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm back here. Sorry, I was on the phone with CRA, and I'll actually just loop you in with that as well. I haven't received my rent subsidy for November yet or December, and I was just clearing up why. Basically, if you haven't heard back within 21 days, you're supposed to call in. I guess I didn't know that, but 21 business days. So my 21 business days is like tomorrow, I think. So I got to call
A
back.
note on that, Dino, we're in the same boat, and we found out that our rep is on holidays until the 18th of January. So we'll be 5 months waiting for the October payment before we get anything. So I don't know if anybody's in the same boat.
And there's something else here in Quebec, same thing. We did not get our payment, but they told us they pick like they don't know, they just pick one name and they do it manually. So if your gym is manually, it's 20 days more of administration and longer to have your payment. So
yeah, I'm
exactly.
in the same boat over here with I was just going to add another point is that for me, I remit my GST monthly, and for the rent subsidy, they're looking at your GST remittance. So I was trying to explain to them on the phone last week that doesn't make any sense, because by the time that I submit my GST, which is for the previous month, I'm now 30 days out from the previous month, which I'm really 60 days out from when the rent subsidy came out. So like, for example, for December rent subsidy, or for period 4 that's coming up, I have to wait until my January GST is filed, which really I'm filing at the end of February. It's just a big mess. So
yeah,
if you are a GST monthly remitter, I've been pinched all 3 periods now where they called me back and said, oh, what you claimed isn't exactly what your GST is. We're gonna adjust it, and it just takes forever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that clears it up. At least I'm not alone in that. So, okay. So Manitoba, again, we just had the press conference. I think I saw Amber summarize it there in the chat, but yeah, it's been extended for another 2 weeks. We've doubled cases in the last week, right? So we're up to 222. They're definitely pushing in the media right now that we got together too much over the holidays. I think they said something like 2,000 close contacts and like 344 cases directly linked to Christmas. So that's the messaging they're going with, and they're not going to open things until, what they've hinted at is a continuation of restrictions until sub 10% test positivity for consecutive days, and hospitalizations decrease to single digits in the ICU. So those are numbers and metrics we can kind of follow just to see and kind of predict what's going to happen. Hopefully cases don't continue to go up, but it's likely that they will until mid-month, but hopefully they do flatten off and go down. In terms of what we're doing here in Manitoba, again, with being closed so much, just like everywhere else, the goal is to just get funding for the gyms that need it. We all need some type of funding and relief. So working towards getting more communication with those departments. If you're in Manitoba, you know that we just had a cabinet shuffle, right? So they just moved everyone around, and we have a new Minister of Health and Mental Health and all that kind of stuff. Her name's Audrey Gordon. So we touched base with her office on Monday, called yesterday, waiting for a call back today. So we'll call again this afternoon, but we're trying to get a dialogue going there as well. Minister Eichler, who's I believe he was the finance minister, I'm not sure if he still is. We have to reach back out to him today. Again, we have this proposal with basically 3 different approaches. One is getting some of the grant money that's been set aside that the chamber has been able to use to give to restaurants. There's a very large portion that's gone unused. We'd like to tap into that for our industry as well, offering grants instead of loans. And then the third thing would be a type of tax deduction or tax incentive to get people to actively engage in our programs, whether it's online or in person when we do reopen. The other thing that we're trying to really focus on is kind of what Nick was saying, kind of how we need this messaging, right, that we're doing nationally and universally here with the FIC, but also it has to come from the government. They're really not speaking up in terms of reaching out just to access our services, even online, right? They've told us you have to start this new business online to support your brick and mortar facility, but they're not trying to engage the public in accessing that. So we really want to create a dialogue that says like, our businesses are of value, even if we're not open. So you need to direct people towards that as a way of managing mental and physical health. So again, lots of back and forths there. We're working with the CFIB. So I'm working very closely with Jonathan and Jeff at the CFIB. Manitoba Chamber's on board as well now. So they've got our letters and they're rallying their people, as well as Winnipeg Chamber, trying to get us some connections at City Hall. So really just trying to work the people and get more connections just so we can get a little bit more aid. Today, they announced the second half of the bridge grant. So that's another $5,000 for affected businesses, which should end up in our bank accounts in the next week or so. And then there was a Winnipeg only grant. So businesses centered in Winnipeg could apply for a grant, and they offered $1,500 to the first 2,000 applicants. So some of our members were able to get that as well. So that's pretty much it. But again, messaging, financial support, and then coming up with a plan for when we do reopen, because we know the last time we closed, it was a phased reopening. So come 2 weeks from now, will it be phased again? We don't know. They're very tight-lipped about that. So we're really just trying to use our connections to find out what their plan is. That's it.
Great, thank you, Dino. And I'm glad you actually started with bringing up the struggles with the government support, because as we can see, that is an issue that is across Canada, because we had Alberta speak up, we had Quebec speak up, we had BC speak up, and Manitoba. So if there's anything we can do for that, and I'm sure that Chris, our lobbyist, will be looking into that further. So thank you for sharing that. So Saskatchewan, I know that Jolene was unable to join us today, but I did see Skye on the call. I was wondering if Skye, you had something you could share with the group?
Hi, everyone. So I'm not sure, some of you guys know that our company, Evolution Fitness, was put into receivership by the landlord. And so I've been 100% focused on that the last 3 months. So I don't have an update in terms of what the Saskatchewan government has done, but I will give you an update on the experience with the receivership. So because we did not qualify for the original Sarker program, because our rent was $85,000 a month at one location and $60,000 a month at the other location, we qualified for $0. This incensed that landlord. He would not give up. Ended up being a nasty fight and into receivership. We have made a bid to rebuy our own company. Today at noon, we've submitted a bid. Hopefully it'll be successful. We'll find out. But here's the experience from the receivership. When the receiver took over the company, they no longer qualified for rent relief or wage subsidy. And it wasn't because there was a straight out explanation. They talked to 7 different senior CRA specialists or managers. Not a single one of them had an answer. Additionally, when you buy a company out of receivership, there's conflicting information on whether or not the new company that has purchased an existing company out of receivership will qualify for rent or wage subsidy. It's been grueling, it's been difficult, it's been stressful, and it's I'm going to echo what some other people were saying, is that the subsidy program and the government programs are just not clear, which is causing a lot of increased risk to our business, which is ultimately obviously a negative thing. Finally, on some of the other businesses that we have in the fitness industry, 2 of the 12 Orange Theories we have did not qualify for the CEBA loan extension. Although they did it for the first one. We went through RBC. RBC does not have an answer, and their answer to us is this has happened with several businesses, and they may have an answer from CRA by the end of January. Additionally, another one of our businesses did, for some reason, the rent subsidy has not come through. The new rent subsidy program has not come through at all, and still waiting to hear back from CRA. So. Echoing what everyone's saying, it's been the programs, while great when they work, when they don't, and when there's exclusions or when there's just omissions or issues, it's taken forever, and it's caused a lot of anxiety and stress.
Thanks for sharing that, Skye. I know it's been a tough go all the way around. So we appreciate you sharing your story. And in case anybody's in the same boat, if there's any ideas, then others can also join in on the conversation. So thank you for that. Let's go to Alberta. Emily, if you'd like to take it away.
You bet. So a little bit of like hope this week. Myself, Scott, Blake, Jeff, and Jill, and a few others. We're on a call. We've had a few of these calls now with the Associate Deputy Minister of Jobs. And there was a new representative on the call with from Health now. So that's kind of been the challenge in the past. We've probably had half a dozen of these calls, and Scott's really great at saying, we want a seat at the table, we want a voice, we want to be able to help you make these decisions, but it feels a little bit like lip service. So they're like, oh yeah, we're sharing the conversation, but then nothing has come out and they make no sense and we're not consulted and we don't know about anything. So it's been frustrating, and I think we were prepared to go into the call this week being like, it has to change. And then there was a new stakeholder at the table. So he sits on the health ministry, and his role is to be stakeholder relations. And he actually has a Bachelor of Physical Education. So I think that'll give us a little bit of help or hope in saying, you get this, you get the importance of fitness. He's new, so he's green, so we'll see how much change he can actually implement or how much he can accomplish for us. But I think we're like kind of cautiously optimistically going to give some time and see. We reiterated everything we've been saying so far. We reiterated that we want to help make the guidelines, that we want to review them, that we want to make sure that they're clear, that they make sense, and also that when we reopen, we want to make sure it's for good, and we don't want to open, close, because that's really difficult for everybody. So I know I left a call with a week or two here. Yesterday, the announcement was made by Premier Kenney that the current lockdowns that were supposed to end on the 13th, they're getting extended another week to the 21st. I don't think anybody was surprised by that. Schools are opening next week, so I think it makes a lot of sense for them to allow schools to be open for a week first and just see what happens. And as you're saying in other provinces, like there's a lot of, our numbers are down a little bit, but not enough. So they kind of need to just wait and see what the full outcome is from the holidays. So like I say, I think I'm kind of hopeful that we'll get somewhere towards February as we progress through the vaccination plan in Alberta at least, but I think that's kind of the main updates from Alberta. Scott, anything to add?
Oh, you did a great job summarizing.
Wonderful, thank you. And then we will go on to BC.
Hey guys, first of all, as always, thoughts go out to all the businesses across Canada that are currently shut down. Continue with your resilience. It's definitely inspiring. Yeah, just thoughts go out to you guys. I know I talk about that resilience thing quite a bit, but it does provide hope for everybody. Everybody on this call has the opportunity to see the pains and sufferings that we're all going through, and we're all holding the rope, and that's much appreciated. So keep that up. In British Columbia, the public health has extended our order to February 4th. So the current order that was in previously, so that continues with no social gatherings and no high intensity group fitness. Our contact at Public Health, we gained a relationship with a member of Public Health, which was a big win for us. We continue with the communication with our relationship with Public Health. And it was shared with us. The positive is that high intensity group was fielded throughout this week as a possibility to reopen, but it was dependent on the case numbers. And unfortunately, case numbers continue to rise after the holiday. It's been shared with us that they are hoping to get some traction with high intensity sooner than later, for whatever that's worth for us all, but it continues to be fielded as a possibility. So that's a positive. It's been shared with us that just because the order was extended to February 4th does not mean that everything within the order will remain the same. So for example, this past order, low intensity group was shut down, and in the current order, they reopened low intensity group under different guidelines. So in British Columbia, our main priority continues to be to get high intensity group reopened. I don't want to, I'm not a big believer in spreading too much hope where it's not due, but I do believe that their intent is to get businesses open in British Columbia. I see Sarah nodding her head. She's in the meetings with me with public health. So I appreciate everyone in BC's resilience, especially the high intensity group with not looking to punch the government in the face and, you know, spin society. Dominic, you've been great in being resilient and holding the rope and not fighting the government and getting on TV like you probably feel like you should. So that's the type of resilience that I think that we all need to consider through this. I know that my business, half of my business is open right now, but half of my business with Orange Theory Fitness is not. And so I think that it's important for us to remember, we talked about this in our call yesterday with the provincial council heads. It's important to remember that our relationships with the government and public health likely weren't relationships that we had prior to the pandemic. So we've all worked very hard, whether they're big wigs or small wigs or whoever they are, we've worked very hard to build relationships with public health and with government. And most of us probably didn't have those relationships prior to the pandemic. And I think as hard as it might be not to fight back and punch people in the face and get angry, we do also need to look at the long term with this. And in particular with the FIC agenda items that we have that we want to accomplish. So just keep that in mind when you're sending public messages out and when you're speaking to the press, that you're influencing, you're putting images and ideas in the minds of the community, and it may jeopardize, if it's negative, it may jeopardize our ability to leverage the relationships we have now in the future, so we can continue to grow as an industry, and the FIC can get some of the big ticket agendas that have been on our plates for such a long time. We can actually get those accomplished in the future. So really appreciate, again, the resilience and you guys holding the rope. It's real tough right now, and that doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for that. We're going to continue with the main priority in British Columbia to be reopening high intensity group fitness. We anticipate that case numbers will continue to increase in BC, but Hifa was on our call last time, and through her yelling and screaming and shouting and profanities in our provincial call last week, she also sent a message of hope for British Columbia. So everyone in British Columbia understand that we have in the past been able to flatten the curve in British Columbia and bring case numbers down. We're hopeful that that will happen again, and I'm confident that if that does happen, that we're going to be able to reopen high intensity group training with some increased guidelines. Anything to say for yourself, Hifa?
I do not yell and scream. Profanity, yeah. But,
yeah. So not a lot of information. We're extended to February 4th, but we're hopeful that with our continued relationship with public health, that we will be able to get somewhere. Sarah, I'll let you speak further on the relationship with public health if you like as well.
Yeah, no, thanks, Carl. I think that it's exactly the sentiment that Carl was sharing. We've just been really working hard, not looking at this as a short-term relationship, but really a welcoming in the door and welcoming to the table of kind of the decisions that are being made. The group has been really receptive to our expertise, the operational expertise, which, you know, the government kind of admittedly has some blinders on to kind of the operational obstacles that we all face in our business. So I really think that this is the beginning of a hopefully long and healthy relationship with all of our provincial governments and local leaders, so that when we do go to advocate for fitness at a national level, that we can also kind of drive home the message at a provincial and local level. So, you know, optimism, but you know, still our thoughts are going out to all the businesses that are closed, and for the businesses that are open in the province also, who are you know, massively financially suffering due to a loss of members and so forth. We also understand that is a really difficult position to be in. So we continue the fight.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sarah. I think that's what we have for BC, Trisha. Wait, we got to do our death clap across the nation. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Scott. Scott, come on, Scott. Sheldon, go. There we go. All right, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carl. Yeah, no, great update today. We do have a few minutes. If anybody has any topics that they would like to bring up or table for further discussion.
I have one. I was listening to a podcast just in Calgary. There's a fitness podcast, YYC Fitness, and Catriona Lemay-Doan was the person being interviewed, and she's pretty famous, and she's former Olympic champion. She's going to be the chef de mission for the Canadian Olympic team in the 2022 Olympics. Did I say that right, Natalie? Oh, good. See, I'm practicing. My kids are in French school, so they teach me. Anyways, would it be beneficial? So she's basically completely in line with what we're doing and what we're talking about. Would there be a benefit to engaging somebody, either her or somebody like her, with that national influence to be a spokesperson? I get really excited when I watch that video. And I think we need to have, a campaign that runs probably throughout the entire winter, spring, and summer. Would it be a good use of money? And we could probably try to negotiate the best we can, but to find somebody like her to be a spokesperson for us. And then, if we're in agreement on that, then who would that person be? Silken Lawman, yeah, another famous Canadian athlete.
I think it may be depending on if you go in a national level, like with somebody really, really known across the board, or if you come like in each province, maybe you have a big name and maybe the implication can be less a little bit. But let's say you take a national athlete, really, really known, like a top guy or top lady that is across the board, everybody look at him or at her. It's going to cost you a lot, but it's going to speak more to everybody. Even if it's a like gold medal or whatever athlete, maybe for us in Quebec, maybe it's not a person we know a lot because we don't talk about like that sport or whatever. But the idea is really good. I think we should have a person speaking for us the importance of sport, the importance of training, and what it brings to health. I think this is really, really important. So you have a great and good idea here.
What's the goal, Scott? Like if you could define in a couple sentences, is it about changing public sentiment, or is it about creating awareness around the health benefits? Like what are you trying to communicate?
Both. I think both of those things, right? So we have our industry facing messaging and we have our public facing messaging. So I think one of the major things we need to do as an industry is gain consumer confidence, right? And inspire people to get off their couch, which I think there'll be a huge demand for, but we know people are scared to death. So, somebody who's going to advocate for the industry, get moving, get connected, the facilities, are full of professionals who take great care. There's remote options. So just somebody to help inspire Canadians to get moving. We've been asking the government to help us with those messaging, and we know that we're just not getting anywhere there. So,
but are they gonna listen to an athlete or if the message is about safety and whatnot? Does it need to be somebody that has more medical credentials, like a highly known doctor, or Trisha Tam, or like I'm just trying to think what you're trying to achieve with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I just know that somebody who's well known, well respected, well spoken, would they be able to inspire people more versus because you see the docs on TV, and there are docs that do advocate for us, but do they move the needle enough? So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea that I think somebody who has significant influence speaking on our behalf, I think would be beneficial.
Duvernay Tardif would be, I think, and it's in the chat here, but he's a doctor, he's an athlete, and he's like left the athlete world to work as a doctor in Quebec. So maybe he can reach, because if you get only an athlete, that will, it's always like, oh yeah, we know, but it's his profession and blah, blah, blah. And if you get a doctor, you have to have a big doctor that is known across the Canada. So this is another point, like each province will have somebody more known and blah, blah, but Duvernay Tardif would be, I think, NFL, doctor, you know, the message, the guy is the total deal, you know? So maybe that guy would be great.
I have a thought. I'm just wondering, like along those lines, what if, I mean, we're a not-for-profit, and I think, you know, you guys have just come up with some really great people, from doctors to athletes, like even somebody like Tessa Virtue comes to mind, who's like super well known and like a bit of a Canadian celebrity. What if, as FIC, we put out an ask to all of these people to send us like a 10-second message to Canadians to just stay active? Like, I know whether it's just like, you've got this, stay active, do what you can, or like, you know, like it's really more about just like, practice safe fitness, stay active, activity is important, we can get through this, kind of more in like the mental health way. But then we like, and we don't offer payment for it. We just say, if you're willing to contribute, just take a 10-second iPhone video, send it to us. We get some great editing. Gabriel, whoever did yours, like that was wicked editing. So, you know, if somebody could take those and put some great music and some great kind of messaging around it, then we have free content with really big names that could hopefully go viral and really build upon our campaign message and like hashtag of practice safe fitness, while also building up the name and reputation of FIC.
And we
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we have all those people that participated in the NHFD event last year too, like Adam Van Koeverden and some of the senators and other people like that, that I'm sure would also do that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, really good.
I have a little comment on that. I love that idea, but in the meantime, this is a message that is said a lot right now since the beginning that we're closed. It's to go and play and stay active, and this is great. But this is not what will help us. I think that what we need to promote is to promote the fact that what we know is that even if it's promoted by the government, by everywhere, oh, go play outside, we know that the majority of people, what they need, it's to have a coach, to have someone that will take care of them, that will take charge of them. And I think that, I think this is the message that we need to say. It's like, it's not just about go and take a walk. The thing is that industry is about professional. It's about the support. It's about the taking charge of the client, and this is what is missing right now in Canada. It's the fact that our people are alone. So I think that I would like to go maybe more around coach type people that we need. That maybe Duvernay Tardif is a great guy. Maybe we can make them think more about the fact that they need support the people. It's not just about taking a walk. And yeah, that's what it is. For me, it's really the opportunity that we have today is really to make understand everybody that we are part of the health system. And the health system, the doctor doesn't just say, hey, go take a walk. The doctor will give you more advice. The physiotherapy will take care of you. The massotherapist will take care of you. So it's not about go outside and take a walk. It's about who's going to help you to make sure that you do it 3 times a week, that it's enough for you, it's proper for you, it's safe for you, it's motivating for you, so you do it and you will continue to do it. And this is about professional, not just to go and take a walk outside.
On that front, one idea that I had is, as Dino was talking, we've seen here, they put together a thing about like shop local, and there's a website that came up that was like an Amazon for shop local kind of thing. Like you can find places in your place that you can shop locally. And when I saw that originally for the retail sector, I thought this is something we could think of doing in the fitness side, because it's not shop local. It doesn't resonate as much. What we need people to be doing is finding your local fitness coaches and facilities that can help you with your get from activity to exercise to fitness. And whether there's something, and this is obviously a conversation to be tabled for another time, but whether there's something that we could have some sort of amalgamation of, or using the FIC site or something to be like, hey, you know how you're trying to shop local with your retail, can you engage with your local fitness professionals? And here's a place you can go and find a local fitness professional or facility that can help you with your fitness. That's something that's been successful here in Toronto, this new site, and I think they're driving in Ontario. And whether that's something we should be thinking of doing as an industry, to try and have one place that, like all Canadians, you can go here and find someone that can help you with your fitness.
I think, Scott, I think you've got a really good, you've kind of hit a nugget here. I think with the messaging, just hearing what Nick and Evelyn has kind of said, I think these people need to say it's okay to go to you guys are doing a phenomenal job at all your facilities, but people outside, like you were saying, Scott, are scared to go into those facilities because nobody's really endorsing kind of what you guys are doing out there in our industry to help them get through COVID. And I think with some of the key people that we've said in the message in the chat, if we can get them to say, hey, it's okay to go to your local gym, like Nick said, get that help, or like Evelyn said, get that help. It's okay. And you hear that from professional athletes or some people in Quebec or whatever. If they're saying it's okay, it's not a doctor, but it is a professional athlete that kind of says it's okay to go to your gym and get that advice and start to get back into the normality of things, because we are going to get through this. They're human. Like a lot of people that we listed, they're human. So by hearing another human say that to another human, it kind of resonates a little more. And it also supports what you guys are doing, because you guys are doing a phenomenal jobs in your facilities, like hands down. But people outside, they don't know that, because all they're doing is they're listening to these doctors say this and variants, and they're just putting negativity on all the work you guys are doing. And I just say, like, I had a conversation yesterday with a guy 3 doors down, and he asked me where I was going, and I said, I'm going to my gym. He's like, the gyms are open? And it's just, again, that conversation to be like, yeah, man, like, go to the gym. They've got the regulations, but they're trying to protect me and stay open and keep me sane mentally and physically at the same time. So, Scott, I think you got a good thing going here, buddy. I think we all need to just collaborate and just figure out what that messaging is. Even if we grab a couple of these key people and say facilities are good to go to. Yes, go to them.
The challenge is a lot of places are closed with facilities. So it's not just go to a facility, it's engage with a coach. You can work out
exactly.
At home. You can work out at home.
One, right?
You can get your activity at home from a fitness professional.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, here's a place near you that is doing online coaching. Here's a place that you can go get a program from that you can execute at home if your facility's closed. Here's a place that is open that you can go get a coaching session. In Quebec, you can get a program session, but not a training session. Like, so it's different in each province, but like, it's just more like that, engage with a fitness professional for whatever you
want. And one of the things that we will gain by that, it's like, we know there was a survey in United States that was saying that 56% of the population is afraid to go to the gym. But since there is virtual training now, they're starting to train and they want to get in shape. So when the gym will open, they'll be in better shape to show up in the gym. So I think that the opportunity now that we have, it's really to speak about the coaching that we can give to the people wherever they are, at what time they want. They can be with their kids beside themselves. Who cares? If you work out with a coach, it's gonna work. It's gonna help you to discover fitness and to feel confident one time in the day when you will be ready for it, to be in a gym when they will be open and when you will be ready. But the coach is the key, and we need to make sure that people know that we can help them now more than ever, because we are already technologically, I'm sorry, it's really hard to say, and maybe it's not a good word, I don't know, but you understood that, technologic.
There's our spokesperson right there. Hey, Evelyn. Hey, fantastic. You crushed it.
No, but really, it's just that. So, but with everything that was said, and Sheldon, what you said and all that, I think that the coach is what we need to speak about. Anyway, thank you to have the nice to listen to my English. Oh boy.
Thank you for your ideas on this. So what we'll actually try and do is create a committee on this. So if you have some ideas, please send them my way, and then we will try and create a committee, some ideas, a script, something that can move this project forward. Because right now I think there's a lot of great ideas coming in. So something we can use to sort through all of these ideas. If Natalie is still on.
I am. I just wanted to share a little bit of good news before we get off. And I think anything that's good news right now is fantastic. There's actually a study that came out from the National Institute of Health that shows that Quebecers are making better nutrition choices since the pandemic. And if they're making, and if they're small incremental choices, but the fact that they're eating at home more than eating in restaurants, the fact that they're eating as a family more often, and that the nutritional choices have actually improved to a significant measure, I think is an indication of how health is becoming a priority for people, and that whether we do it now in virtual or later in person or whatnot, this coached ability to help people improve their overall health, including fitness, nutrition, etc., is a lovely opportunity for us. So knowing that people are doing better is, I feel like they're prime more than ever before for us to take them to the next level in their health and fitness. So I found that an optimistic study.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for ending us on a positive note. And thank you everybody for your participation and passion today. And we hope to keep this going throughout the year. So our next meeting is going to be on the 22nd, and we are actually going to have a presentation by David Hardy on the impact of COVID-19 on the industry and what to do moving forward when it comes to rent and whatnot. So we do have quite a bit planned for our upcoming couple weeks here. So if you're not part of any provincial meetings, please do ensure that you get on a provincial meeting. And if you have ideas, please send them my way so we can work together moving forward. So thanks once again, and Happy New Year. And we'll see you all very, very soon.